Hey kids, it's Jurassic James and Jurassic Explains. We're looking at Lophostropheus. So you're in Target, you're in Walmart, you're in whatever your local store is, depending on where in the world you're watching this for some reason. And you see this figure and you're like, what's all that then? So it turns out this guy is a Coelophysoid. I'm going to start. Oh yeah, the oldest and newest. It's the only one we have, and I'll explain why in a minute. But with the official sisters, Jurassic James, we will now free the beast. I like the ones, the theropods. They're usually just two snips and they're out, right? There you go. And it fell over. It's a boy, mazel tov. Lophostropheus actually means crested vertebra because some of the vertebra if you look at a dinosaur vertebra, it's usually like this is like the main, you think of a backbone, this part here, and there's these processes coming off. So they're very low crested processes. It was named in 2007, found in Normandy, France, which is the northwestern side of France. Hence, think of the D-Day battle, of course. And the idea here is that this guy, they found a lot of vertebrae, some hip bones, and a tooth. Now, the weird thing is, you normally find a lot of teeth and a few other bones, because teeth are always being shed. And here's a question for me personally of, if you find a bunch of bones and you find like one or tooth, is that not a shed tooth from something else? But anyway, that's here nor there. So the main thing to point out is this guy is living, it's about 10 feet long, weighing around 200 pounds roughly, estimated 200 pounds. And it lived in the late Jurassic, early Jurassic, making it possibly one of the few dinosaurs who survived that extinction event. That's a really big deal to be found on both sides of the time scale. The confusing part, of course, is with it not having a skull, with it only having vertebrae and hip bones mainly, it's hard to identify what it is. So when it was first discovered, it was a classified, because here's a really big thing. You want to make sure you are classifying your dinosaurs right. So first of all, one, does this skeleton match other skeletons? Because if it does, it's the same species. So say you find something in the same area that's better preserved, and it matches that. Oh, this is another to add to that species. That's only fun for a paleontologist if it's a new part of the animal. So say if we have one that they found this much of, and you find a tail of it, that helps us understand it better, but not really. But say they don't have a skull, and you find a body, and then you find a skull, you're like, yes, now we can add more information to the papers, right? And so, I mean, tails and skulls are both important, but the main thing is it's mainly vertebrae and hip bones. So it's the remains names have changed. They've been put under different genuses, and the one that's most prevalent is Liliensternus. This is who are you? What company are you? Bullyland. Oh, very nice. Bullyland. There's not a year on here, but made in Germany. Huzzah! And so Liliensternus is really well known. Actually, Liliensternus lived in Germany and France and stuff. It's a European relative of Coelophysis, which is found in North America, famously. It is a star of Walking with Dinosaurs, Ghost Ranch in Mexico. I've been there before. It's a super cool place. You should go visit it. One day I'll lead field trips there, I promise you. 2017, so this Coelophysis is a safari. And here, to give you comparison, is the 1993, I think, Jurassic Park Coelophysis. So you're seeing that the Jurassic Parkification plus the increase in time, that you get more of a streamlined design. So this is a Coelophysid kind of family. So I've always talked about the Allosaurs, the Tyrannosaurs, the Spinosaurs, the Abelisaurs. I won't stop talking about the Abelisaurs. Well, the Coelophysid group is the one that is not as well loved because, one, they're older, so less of them preserved. Coelophysis is a lot in Ghost Ranch, but the idea is that they're not giant dinosaurs. I mean, if I'm standing here, I'd be about that tall to these guys. I'm 5'10", I think. Not a tall dude. And so the idea is that this is the group it falls into. So it's kind of cool to see this group getting love. Plus, a European dinosaur. That's always new and fun. So the one thing to point out about this animal is that, given that we don't have the digits, the fingers and toes, we can't say much, but we can pretty much, looking at its relatives, not assume, but understand that it had at least 3 clawed fingers, looking palm to palm. I liked how Jurassic World is finally making their toys palm to palm now. I'm really happy that they're not doing the for the most part, the Raptors and Rexes will always do this because that's their bread and butter. But for the dinosaurs that are not as popular, they're giving them the proper hand gesture. So that's just really cool. It may have had a 4th digit without a claw, possibly, which is something we see sometimes in its relatives. But again, we won't know until we just keep digging. And so there's 3 toes going forward, a dew claw going back, all to be expected from the animal. It's a pretty good interpretation of this thing. Let's see. I'll put this over to the side here. So this is the Rupus. Since you're saying, wait a minute, then if it looks like, if it's one of these guys, what's that crest thing doing up there? Well, it turns out it's found in the late Triassic and the early Jurassic, that kind of line of preservation. So it is a well-known observation that in the early Jurassic, many theropods have crests. Now, crests are not horns. When I say crest, I'm not talking about the hadrosaur duckbill crest for singing songs. We're talking about facial display things here. So it's often compared to a not close relative, a relative, Dilophosaurus, which if you've seen Jurassic Park, it's the spitter thingy. Look at that. So what I've done today is I brought the Jurassic Park one, and then I brought one that was a little bit more scientific accurate. This is I think it's a Schleich too, actually, the German company. Yeah. Yes, it is. There's no year. They don't put years on their toys. But this guy, actually, it's a whole story that the hand's wrong, but whatever. So it's often compared to these guys because in the Triassic, this is the look of theropods. In the early Jurassic, this is the look of theropods. So you're seeing that change. So because they don't have that part of the head, we don't know. So it's a pretty safe assumption to say maybe there was some kind of crest-like structure. Because, what do you mean? Well, this is North Arizona, basically, what we now call Arizona. In Antarctica, we have Coelophysis, which means frozen crested lizard. Here is my favorite example of Coelophysis. It is a Papo figure, and it looks absolutely amazing. I liked how it's like glossy, like it just like came out of the shower and it's like throwing his hair back. It's like, let's go have fun at the beach, But I think she probably shower after the beach. I don't know. The point is, look, the idea here is that you see the frozen crest is Antarctica. This crest is right here. So that's in the south. And then you go to the east. These are early Jurassic. If you go to the late Jurassic, you have Monolophosaurus, who I've already done a video on. So here's the newest Jurassic World Monolophosaurus figure. Ooh, look at that. And then the Safari 2014 model, like you're seeing here. And of course, the more recent video, Guanlong. And here is the Safari 2010. And then Jurassic World when it just came out, last wave of toys. So they all have crests. So again, I'm pretty sure, there are some theropods from early to middle Jurassic who don't have crests. But this is a feature we see in a lot of them. So it's not a terrible assumption to think this guy had a crest, basically. As far as the figure, the DNA code is right there because kids like that today because everything's digital. The legs can go back and up like that. It's kind of tight. It's a new figure. So its arms like this. Its head goes up and down. Its mouth can open. It's kind of all very tight. So very cool, like it's swimming. And so, so this is a pretty cool dinosaur in its own right. It's again, one of those dinosaurs I didn't think I'd ever see in toy form. It's just not Velociraptor, so therefore we shouldn't care about it. No, that is sarcasm. I'm not good at conveying that sometimes. But the idea is that, I know it sounds like a cop-out and it makes people very angry when we got to keep digging because you only have parts of one specimen. You can't tell much about it. It's that's kind of how it is in paleontology. You have to keep finding more specimens to compare it to. And it's dinosaurs like the Diplodocus that we have so much of them. We know a lot about them, right? T-Rex, same thing with T-Rex is that everyone wants to work on T-Rex. Therefore, everyone's studying and researching it, finding more T-Rexes, studying them more, publishing more papers, further fueling their love. Well, these guys just don't get that kind of love, right? And also the fact that they have few remains, they're putting in different groups until they realize, no, it should be its own genus as of 2007. So congratulations, you're a new genus. You've made it. And you're in toy form. You've double made it. That's like the Oscar equivalent or a Grammy or whatever the award is. Of a dinosaur toy. You become a figure that's appreciated. The final step would be to become a scientific model that kids can buy regularly, not just in Europe. That being said, on that weird ending rant, I will now see you next week.